Okay, everybody, welcome to the Digital Dish, and I'm Lisa Beyer. I'm one of the hosts. I have a co-host, Kathy Hackle, who just delivered a baby, Camellia, over the weekend, so she's not with us today. But I have two awesome guests, and our focus is going to be Pubcon, the Search and Social Conference. We missed it. I missed it last week in Austin, and I have Melissa back, and I have Joe Laratro to give us the highlights of Pubcon Austin, and then also talk about Pubcon Vegas, which is coming up. Hey, Melissa. Hey, Joe.
Hey, hello. Lisa.
So welcome to the Digital Dish. Melissa and Joe, I'll let you each give intros on yourself, and then we'll get right into it. So Melissa, you go first.
I'm the social community manager at Pubcon, and I also work for Authority Labs doing social media and as a consultant on the side for a few select clients. I think that's about it.
Awesome. Joe?
So I am the lead moderator of Pubcon. I help Brett with most of the stuff on the speaker side. And you guys are making faces. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. I help Brett, Tabby, who's the owner, with a lot of the content stuff, speakers, moderation, things like that. I also run a company called Tandem Interactive based in South Florida, and we are a search-only agency, and we're 10 years old.
Okay, awesome. And for those that don't know about Pubcon, I've been going to Pubcon for, I think, 8 or 9 years as an attendee and then a speaker. So how would you best describe Pubcon?
So I would say Pubcon is the conference in the space where the people go to learn. There's other conferences that are specific to search and social that are kind of, I don't want to say infomercials, but not as techy. Pubcon is the conference where you send your staff to come back with hands-on ideas that will make your company be more successful in the next quarter. Melissa, what would you say?
I mean, even though I'm a speaker, I learn something new every conference I go to, and all the sessions. I don't just go and speak at Pubcon. I go to all the sessions, and I love all the knowledge sharing that goes on and the networking.
Yeah, I think that's what makes Pubcon unique, is it almost feels like you're family when you're there. You know, it's a little more relaxed. There's no air of I'm better than you going on. It's just fun and family and learning. So that's why I've always loved Pubcon.
Definitely. Hey, Nava, maybe if you can do it, put the link to Pubcon in the messaging so people can see the link. So we know Pubcon Austin just happened. What were some of the highlights for the people that didn't get to go to it that were happening? What was being said and trends?
So
Joe, you want to start?
Sure. I have two that are top of mind. First one was one of the sessions I moderated, and it was about attribution. And I really was kind of curious where we're going to go with this, because I've seen Avinash talk quite a bit about attribution, and in fact fill a keynote room with attribution. But at the end, it kind of, his speeches have come down to, well, you know, we just still kind of guess. And this was a pretty good session that was high level, but also showed ways that really any company spending any kind of budget should be looking at different attribution models, at least on a small scale. You know, Google Analytics now has quite a few different options, and the ones that were talked about heaviest was really whether you're looking at first click attribution, last click attribution, or time decay. And there's so many other ways to look at it, but that was a really good session. And then the second thing that really stood out to me was AngularJS. So I keep hearing AngularJS. I've got a lot of developers that are working on websites. They want to develop everything in AngularJS. And from the SEO community, there's a big like, no, don't do that, because AngularJS for SEO purposes is almost like going back to Flash. You're creating a single page experience. It's only going to rank for one page, and you're limited in what you can do with it. And while it can be used for some really cool site interactions, especially on mobile devices, it really should not be used on any area of a website that you'd be wanting to drive organic or free traffic to. It's more for like almost an app side of things where you log in to a site and then you can play with the AngularJS. But that at least was being talked about now, which I think was pretty important.
I have to be honest, I would have been learning something, because when you sent me that in chat today, I had no idea what you were talking about. Melissa, what about you on the social side?
I really was attending the social and content sessions. So basically, the same theme I heard over and over is less content. Less and better content. Everyone's just trying to throw out content every, 3 or 4 times a week, and it's just a bunch of fluff, and it's not really helpful. So the thing I heard repeatedly was long form, helpful content that you can break into chunks for social shares, and focus on visual media as well. Because we have a lot of people who just are not going to read anymore. The focus of everyone is kind of 6 to 9 seconds, they say, less than a goldfish. So that was really the main theme, is how to create content that is going to work for different types of businesses, small to large. And then how to break it into chunks for social media and how to track social media. The other thing is Lisa, you and I have talked about this before, the increased tools with social media, with Facebook and Twitter for customer service. It's now like an added responsibility of businesses and how they're going to train people to manage that while also doing regular customer service.
Yeah, the social customer service is huge now. Did you do a session on that?
I did not.
Okay, so the slide deck that you sent me was from
a different thing.
Oh, okay,
I think you and I are doing one in Vegas.
Yes.
On it. So,
yes, we are. I didn't know if there was another one in Austin.
No, there was not. It was more of just discussion of how are we going to manage this and what are we supposed to do, which really kind of shocked me, because sometimes I think you talk about something so much you assume everybody knows it, but that's just not the case, I guess. So.
Okay, awesome. So if anybody has any questions, you can just put them in the message and we'll come back for questions in a couple minutes. But I just want to ask Joe, what were some other trends happening with SEO at Austin, or what you're going to be talking about maybe in Vegas?
So on the SEO side of things, we're all still kind of waiting for, when's this next Penguin update that we started hearing about in Q4 2015. Oh, it's definitely coming out in Q1 2016, and we're still kind of looking around saying, well, where's this Penguin update? What we know about the Penguin update is that it's supposed to be a more rolling or frequent link audit update. So if you have bad links and they're getting worse quickly, it could affect you. If you're cleaning up your links and have better links, it could affect you more quickly than the past 4 or 5 years of the Penguin updates. Another big topic, which Eric Eng addresses probably better than anyone, is the answer box. I mean, Google is still continuing to try to give us a better experience, or a searcher a better experience, and be able to answer the question. And Eric's proved not only that if you rank in the answer box, your traffic actually increases. Google's not cannibalizing the traffic just because the answer shows up there. He has like concrete proof that if you get in the answer box, you will get more traffic from people actually clicking because they want to read the rest of it, which is really cool and counterintuitive to the Google conspiracy theorists that want to say, oh, well, Google will just take your traffic. No, we have proof that this answer box is actually pretty valuable, and valuable to the consumer or the website that's optimizing to get in the answer box. And then the second half of that is, okay, well, how do you get in the answer box? And it's writing the right kinds of content. And we heard on the SEO side the same thing Melissa heard on the social side. It's less content, it's higher quality content. The days of putting a blog out every day just to put a blog out every day are over. It's now, if you put a blog out, it's a meaningful, valuable blog. And if you're really thinking about this question and answer box, you're putting out a blog that answers a question. So whether it's, what's the best vacation spot this summer, or how do I get to speak at Pubcon Las Vegas, which is probably too late, maybe 2017 or something, that would be great content to be able to write to answer that question.
So we have a question here from eBoy. Can you explain what is the answer box for beginners in SEO?
So the answer box is, if you go to Google right now and you do a kind of a basic question as simple as, what's 2 plus 2, you'll actually get an answer. But in some things you can get more robust answers. So if you said, how many times has Tom Cruise been married? And I should check that. You'll probably get an answer to that. How much is somebody worth? There's a lot of different things that you can, if you ask a question, you'll get an answer. And I think Google's paying a lot of attention to this right now, because mobile search is becoming even more popular. And voice search is becoming incredibly popular. The voice search recognition on an Android device is spectacular. I watch the autocorrect because I tend to ask a lot of questions when I'm at a stoplight and I don't want to, not while I'm driving, while I'm at a stoplight, and I don't want to type it all in. So I'll ask the question and I watch the autocorrecting, understanding kind of the query, and it's amazing how good it's getting. So if you're asking natural language type questions and you're optimizing for that, you've got to try to have that type of content on the website.
So should our blog post headlines be questions?
Yeah.
Well,
Absolutely.
One thing I wanted to mention regarding Joe's Q&A is if you're taking your long form content, you're trying to answer questions and answers, it's obvious. I mean, I don't know if you all have done searches and asked a question, and Google is starting to list forum Q&A. You can see that a lot with iOS questions or anything about medications for kids. They're just taking little snippets from forums and they're listing them right on top of each other. You have to click to get the answer. So they're not trying to take your content. They're just trying to provide you with the best possible answer. And so I think anytime you're creating content, you have to do exactly what Joe said. Add as many questions and answers. If your clients are asking them, put it in your content.
Okay, great. I have a question regarding the Google Penguin penalty, what's happening with that. So what if you're a new site that's about to launch? What do you do? What do you think about? Is there anything to worry about if you're a new site?
I can't do that. I was right though. I did the search how many times has Tom Cruise been married, and there is a Google answer box result for that that says it's from heavy.com, and it says he has 3 ex-wives. Yeah. So that's a perfect example of the answer box. All right, so go back. What was your question?
My question is for new sites that haven't launched yet, do they need to take anything into consideration for Google penalties to be proactive?
So yes, that's a very good question. On two different fronts, I would say. One, if you're a new site but have a purchased domain, you might have a purchased domain that has a bad history on it. So doing link quality checks are important even on a new site, unless the domain has never been used before. If the domain has never been used before, then you can probably launch okay. But I would be revisiting that on, right now, I would say a quarterly basis where you're running link audits and checking the quality of your backlinks. I've kind of 2 pretty easy examples of this. One, we were working on a site that was selling like discount eyeglasses, and we started seeing their link profile in Google Search Console, formerly Google Webmaster Tools, just go through the roof. And we're like, why is there all these links? And we started seeing that there was these scraper sites that Google was indexing that were still using links back to their site. So that potentially could be a problem, and you would have to what's called disavow those sites so that you're telling Google like, don't count those links toward us. We don't know where they're coming from. The second scenario is, and why you would be doing this on a quarterly basis is, unfortunately, I mean, that was a site scraper problem, but this can also be happening from somebody doing negative SEO toward your site. So if you have an upset employee or a very aggressive competitor, there are tactics where somebody can try to get links to your site that you have no control over, and they could be very low quality links. And if the new Penguin update can factor that in more quickly, it might be able to hurt websites more quickly. Safe to guess that anyway.
Okay. Melissa, what about you when it comes to social, when websites are just launching, companies are just launching, what tips do you have?
The number one tip I have is checking your content first before you even get into the social realm. A lot of people are hiring these people online like, we'll write content for you. And really what it is an exact duplicate of other sites. You can see like they've taken paragraphs from different websites and merged them together. And if you don't think Google can figure out real quick on a new launch that your content is the exact same as 3 or 4 other sites, that's a problem for you. Additionally, I mean, when you're launching a site, obviously you're going to be offering content maybe in a blog post, or, it's really going to, before you start social, you're going to have to figure out who your audience is and where they are and how you're going to target them. So before you launch, I'd be looking into that. Are they on Facebook, on Twitter, on LinkedIn? What do they want to hear? What do they need to know? And then you start creating your social content for them.
Okay, awesome. I see somebody trying to call in, but I'm not familiar with who it is. So unless you want to put your question in the messaging, I'll bring you on. But I think I want to bring. Oh, it's George. George, what's your question? Medicine student, huge fan. Okay. Okay. Since we don't know you, just tell us what the question is before we bring you on. You can say it live if you want.
And Annie has a question.
Yeah, I think I'm going to bring Annie on. So Annie, try to call in.
So I actually have a great answer to George's question.
Okay, I'm going to bring George on after Annie. Hi, Annie.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm good. I have a question. It's about meta description. How important it is, and actually, like, what should be included in meta description?
So from an SEO perspective, meta description is important because right now, most people aren't going off the first page. They search something in Google and they don't find the answer right away. I mean, they're going to refine their search query. They're not going to go 6 pages in, although I defied that in the last few days with some pretty specific queries because I couldn't get the answer. But again, the normal practice is first page. And with the changes that happened with AdWords going off the right-hand rail of desktop in March, we now have 4 ads at the top. So that means you got to scroll down to start seeing organic. When you get to organic results, you have to sell the user on why to click on your result because you're fighting for very limited space. And whether you're number 1 or number 3, if you've got a poorly written title and a poorly written description, it's possible they're going to move right on and go to the next result. So in terms of optimizing the meta description, I like having some kind of call to action, or standout, very similar to what we would do in a paid search ad. Where the title is optimized for the keyword. I prefer not to use the company name in the title unless it's an incredibly well-recognized brand. Use the company name in the description. Use a little bit of a keyword description in the description if possible, and then have a call to action just to make that a very compelling search result to click on.
Mm-hmm. And then, do you think meta description is more important for landing pages? And then how about if a website that I have has a lot of sub pages?
So I would say meta descriptions are important for every single page on the website, and they should be unique for every single page on the website. If you are using a generic meta description, Google will probably skip by it and show a snippet from your page, and you don't have control of the snippet. The snippet might not always be as marketable as you can be with a good, well-written description, meta description.
Okay, so even if these I have like over a couple hundred pages or sub pages, they should all be optimized for meta description.
Blog posts, I mean, you name it, I would optimize it.
Okay, and then you said why is it not good to have the organization's or company's title in the title?
I just think that you're wasting space in the title. I mean, most people are familiar with, they can look at the URL, and the URL, they're going to get the idea that that's the company name.
Okay.
I like using the company name in the description, but I don't like using it in the title. It's very common that you'll see like optimized title with a dash or bar company name. I'm just not a fan of that. It's wasting space. I'd rather use that for a valuable keyword.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Lisa's back.
Yep, she's back.
I can't hear you guys, so keep talking, and I'll be right back.
Okay.
You just got a little choppy.
Well, one thing I'll add to Joe's meta description idea is if you haven't been doing it all along, go to Google Search Console and look at your high traffic pages, the ones that are getting traffic, and work on those first, and then go through the rest.
So can you actually chime in on the open graph tags?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Or is that a question?
No.
Oh, okay.
So open graph has a description tag.
Yes, it does. And I mentioned this at Pubcon Austin. Who makes it really easy to use if you don't have like a developer on staff and you need it done? The Yoast SEO plugin actually has a section for Facebook markup and Twitter as well. So if you're using WordPress, so it's great. But I mean, you're going to have to do it today. You basically are forcing Facebook to guess at what people are supposed to see if you don't have face up or the open graph done. So I don't know, Joe, how many times do you try and share something on Facebook and it doesn't display with an image or a description?
So I was actually going to say, if you don't mind, just be a little more specific, because I didn't know. I mean, I know now, but the gist is the same way we use meta title or title and meta description to show in SERPs, we have the open graph tags that can make what you share on social look a lot better. I'm not Mr. Social, so I don't have a very good answer. I mean, if I share something and it doesn't look right, I probably delete it and don't share it. But explain how you can control that using the open graph tags. Well,
if you're a business and you set up open graph and you have your ID associated with your website, then you can choose which image is going to be displayed on Facebook and what description is going to be displayed on Facebook. What is great is if you want to reshare, let's say, an article and it's pulled in the image and description you want, you can still change that in Facebook just by clicking on like the image. You can delete it and change image. You can change the description. So you can share it multiple different ways on Facebook. But initially, you want to have an image and description set up. So let's say you're not sharing it, and your audience is, you want it to display nicely and explain basically what you want your targeted audience to see. It's the same thing with Twitter. Twitter has Twitter cards, and you can choose how you want your media and content displayed. Do you want it with an image? Do you want it with a video? It's great for targeting different personas, and there's been multiple studies. I think Eric at Stone Temple has done a few studies on engagement with images. So
I'm back.
The more images you have, or if you have an image with your social shares, they tend to do better as far as engagement is concerned. Cool. But people just don't have the patience to read something boring anymore. So you have to create a title, description, and provide an image that's going to excite them enough to click.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Sorry about that. I had a technical difficulty. So where did we leave off?
So we were talked about both meta descriptions and using the open graph tags, and how even the description of the open graph tag is pretty relevant today.
Okay, awesome. So we have about 4 or 5 minutes left, and then we want to talk a little bit about what to expect from Pubcon Vegas. Melissa and I are on the Social Media Masters session, teaching a full-day workshop, more of an advanced type of intensive training on social media. And Joe, I know you're on the SEO side of the Masters training. But Joe, you and Melissa, you too, are on the inside track of what we can expect. So please give us your best insights and what's going to be different with this Pubcon Vegas.
I'll let Melissa go first on this one.
I was going to let you go first on this one. Well, we have 2 new workshops, right, Joe? We have one with AdWords scripts that Google is going to be giving. Mm-hmm. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
And then we have a track with Roger Dooley on neuromarketing. And then Marty Weintraub will take the second half of the day for psychographic targeting. That's part of the workshops. And then the 3 days of sessions, I think we have 10 sessions per hour, Joe? Is that correct now?
Something pretty crazy, yeah.
So it's Brett and Joe work very hard to change it up year after year. So things are changing this year as far as sessions. A lot of great speakers. There's going to be, again, networking parties every single night. I think our networking party Monday night is for anyone that's attending the conference, and it's going to be larger than usual. What else am I missing here? What am I forgetting?
That's very good. So a couple of insights from my vantage point of Pubcon. On the training side, last year we added our first 101. We always recognize that Pubcon is known for the more advanced tactics, but Brett, kind of thought it out and said, some people get a little intimidated by that they get into Pubcon and it's a whirlwind. They don't know where to start. And what we found was that 101 day on SEO was actually incredibly valuable, because now you could send, your team or a new team or a set of new hires, and they can start with some foundation work on a nice kind of well-rounded but well-paced day before the conference. And then you kind of have that foundation, and boom, you move into the 3 days, which, like Melissa said, I mean, could be 10 sessions wide, and I think 6 sessions long at any given point. You can pick and choose and get a little more specialty areas of wherever you want to cover. But that 101 day, and I'm not part of the 101 day, I'm part of the advanced SEO, but that 101 is really, really nice, I would say, for more corporate, bigger groups to be able to come in and get involved. Like Melissa said, that we are doing a few more things with the networking this year. I can't really disclose that stuff yet because I don't think any of it's public, but it's going to be pretty neat. We always have the idea of doing mini socials, because sometimes, like, if you get invited to that dinner that there's 20 people at, I mean, that can be an amazing event. I'm still trying to organize something with one of the shows, but we've looked at the times, and unfortunately, I mean, we're already packed every night. So I wanted to do just buy 50 tickets and then figure out how to distribute them for Rock of Ages. And I really don't know that we have the time to do it, which is crazy because we're in Vegas for like 5 or 6 days. Got some great keynotes, and we actually just found out, I think it was yesterday, that we've got a couple more Googlers, like high-end Googlers, coming, and they're going to do some speaking with us beyond the scripts and beyond Gary Eas keynoting. I mean, we've got a pretty incredible lineup that's also probably about 98% done, and we are 4 months out, 5 months out. 5 months.
This is the most in advance I can remember Pubcon being so planned out. It's awesome.
It's cool.
Well, and one other thing I wanted to mention real quick is if you're new coming to Pubcon for the first time, do not be afraid to go up and talk to people. Been to a lot of conferences, and this one tends to be the most relaxed and friendly to just go up and talk to anybody, speakers, attendees. This is what Pubcon is about. So this is the place to network and to learn from people. And I know last year I saw a few people were kind of standing against the wall afraid. And I'm like, no, just come up and introduce yourself. Everyone's friendly. So I think we're really excited, and it's nice to kind of know ahead of time we're done.
There's so many conferences to choose from now. It seems like new ones pop up every day. And then there's the ones like Pubcon that have been around for a while. And I mean, I think what's different about Pubcon from my standpoint is that it combines both social media marketing and search marketing. And there's a lot of conferences that are just focused on social media, like Social Media Marketing World is brilliant, but it's mainly social media. And I think, the real beauty is combining social media and search together and having at least an understanding or an education to balance it out so that you can communicate with different departments. So that's my favorite thing about Pubcon, and it's so friendly. Everyone's so nice.
Oh, well, and like you said, Lisa, all of it ties together.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to know how to do content to be able to do SEO and to do social. I mean, you can send your whole team, your whole marketing and dev team to Pubcon, and they can all learn something new and bring it back. So
true. So before we close out, I just want to see if there's any other questions in the messages. I don't see any. Did George get his question answered?
We wanted to know what our motivation is every day.
And so we had that question. Melissa, were you still in the room at the closing panel in Austin when we asked that question of like, why do you do it every day?
I might have been.
So I actually pulled up YouTube on my phone and played the song Win.
Oh yeah.
Win. So everyone kind of had their own take on the answer, but it's just that like why I do it every day is we make our customers money. They give their customers good service. We help our employees do what they love to do every day. I mean, it's a win-win scenario. I mean, if we're good at what we do, everybody's happy. I mean, it's like the best part of capitalism. There's no losers in this. I mean, we make business happen. And whether it's on the direct marketing side, brand marketing, I mean, there's e-commerce, there's so many different ways that we can be successful and just love what we do every day. So, I mean, that's what motivates me. It's win, win, win.
And it's even the smallest things, that make the biggest difference that you can share with clients. Just little tweaks can just make the biggest difference. And helping them, like Joe said, be successful. And I think another big thing for me is there's a lot of consultants and agencies in our business that aren't necessarily that ethical. And I think, us being all in the category of ethical, that we're the ones that are helping on the positive side of things and keeping everybody straight, or at least helping them get to a better place.
Yeah, there's nothing more exciting to me than to see a small business who might be having a hard time just blossom online, and then be emailing you like, oh my gosh, I got 10 new customers today. That actually makes me feel like I'm doing something and helping somebody. So
definitely. Okay, well, on that note, we're about out of time. I know, Melissa, you have to go, and Joe, we have a double header here. We have SEO chat at 1:00 if you want to join us on Twitter, if you're live. If you're recording, you can, I guess, do a search and look at the recap. But thank you all for joining us today, and I will see you on SEO chat in an hour, or in a half hour at 1:00, or I'll see you at Pubcon. Bye.
Right. Thanks, Lisa. See you at Pubcon. Bye.
Bye.